everybody. Welcome to another weekly webinar here at Route Consultant, where we're focused on the bread and grocery space. Now, if you haven't been here before, my name's Josh Gregory. I help lead the education teams here at Route Consultant. And really, all that should mean for you as you're coming into this space is that my team is here to help teach you about the opportunity here and everything that you would need to know to be successful, and really help you if you do decide that this is the right opportunity to accelerate your journey, help find the right fit for you in the right location and the right size opportunity to really help you get moving and be successful once you decide to jump in. Now, if you are here live, there will be a live Q&A at the end. And so as I'm talking today, as Stephen's talking today, any questions that you may have, whether it's about what we're talking about or anything about the industry as a whole, you're welcome to ask them. You can type it into the Q&A button at the bottom of the window. And once we're done talking for the day, we will get to that Q&A section at the end. And if you're not here live, if you're watching this on YouTube, if you want your questions answered live, come to our live time every week. And if not, you can always reach out to us, info@routeconsultant.com, and we're happy to answer whatever questions you have. Now, for today, if you've been here the last few weeks and months, we've really covered a lot of the basics to run one of these businesses successfully. Now, if you haven't been here, like I mentioned, all of these are on our YouTube, on the Route Consultant YouTube. And so if you want to go back and binge all of these, they're all still there, and we'll continue doing these every week as well. But really today we wanted to go through some other things and some other thoughts that you may not have considered to be important in this industry, but can really help to set you apart as an operator. So we'll talk through all of that today, and we've brought Stephen Ryan back on to share his expertise. And for those of you who haven't been here previously, haven't gotten to meet Stephen yet, he is a current operator in the grocery space with over a decade of experience in this industry, worked for different bakeries, he's operated his own routes, and he's grown to the size where he's not on the truck every day, so he can join us on things like this. So, Stephen, if you want to go ahead and jump on and say hello to everybody.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. It is great to be back with you.
Perfect, and it is great to have you. So, like I kind of alluded to, we're going to talk about some kind of more outside the box things that you might not always think about. Before we get to that, just quickly, if anybody hasn't been here recently, can you just remind everyone, what are some of the key things, if you were going to just call out some of the things that you think are most important to kind of understand this business at a basic level?
Yeah, sure. So just a quick recap of the grocery space, right? So as contractors, we're in charge of managing a fresh inventory on behalf of the bakeries that we represent. And so that can look a lot of different ways. You're going to see big cycles. There's a lot of nuance to this business. And so understanding the revenue drivers, the promotional drivers, and the seasonal fluctuations is really important. And so we're on a weekly basis adjusting orders. We're communicating with district and regional managers on the grocery level for promotional planning. And we're really just making sure that we're operating at an efficient pace where we're not having lots of stale, lots of returns, and we're really pushing to try and grow the business from an in-store level. And so that's a great recap, just kind of thinking through how we would do these things, proper merchandising, frequency of service, making sure that we have the right product in the right store at the right time is really what this boils down to.
Yeah, and that's the phrase to always remember. And all those things he's mentioned, we've talked about in more detail in the past, and some of them we're going to talk about again in the future. But I think it's a good reminder of kind of the key things to kind of make sure you understand before you take the next step. Now, if those are kind of the basic foundational things to nail, can you take us through some of the other things that you really would encourage people to think about to be good operators and to really be successful in this space?
Yeah, so if you want to grow, if you want to stand out, we've talked about kind of the basics, but if you want to start thinking outside the box, once you establish a good understanding of your stores, really the most important thing is understanding, how each store sells and the nuance to that. And once you really get a handle on that, you can start offloading some of the more mundane tasks like, driving the truck, merchandising the product, working backstock, building displays, and you can start working on your business instead of in your business. And so I'm going to give some examples of some things that I've seen other guys do and things that I've done in my business. to try and, take a step forward, and not just be an owner operator the rest of my life. I want to serve my guys well. I want to give them vacation. I want to have the same for my family and have a little bit of time off. And it's difficult as an owner operator to achieve that. So really, as we start thinking outside the box, I've found that these fall into three main categories. So you're going to find operational efficiencies, revenue driving ideas, and then problem solving tasks. As entrepreneurs, a lot of times, we are problem solvers. And so you have to really embrace that challenge sometimes, have thick skin, ask lots of questions. But as we go into operationally, these are some thoughts that I've had that I've seen that really work well in the space. So we talked about merchandising, right? Building displays, working product from the back room on non-delivery days. That can be a task that's much more easily handed off to someone that is maybe already working in the store, a Kroger, a Publix, a Walmart employee that is looking for extra money that can come in 30 minutes early before their shift. Of course, you don't want them working your product when they're on the clock. So make sure that you qualify that. But these are some tasks. If you have a store that's, say, 45 minutes away from where you live, on a day that you're not delivering, you can start offloading to someone for, 15, 20 bucks. It may take them only 30 minutes. It may take them shorter than that. And so this is a great idea to, allow yourself more time and freedom to work in your business and not just on it. We've talked about, managing an inventory. So as you work through the weeks, you're going to start having some fluctuations. Maybe you order too much, maybe you order not enough. And so when I first started doing this business, I really had a lot of pressure. I didn't want to, I felt the pressure of stale. And so I wanted to push the product right out off the truck. And what I found was it was hard for me to remember what I had in the store and when I had too much. So what I started doing was weekly kind of getting an idea. Okay, I'm going to put 12 units in this store. I'm going to put 36 in this one, and I'm going to see what my sell off is between delivery days. And so that would allow me to then, when I finish the route, have a good idea of what I have left on hand. And so if I ordered 10 trays and at the end of the day I was expecting to be empty, but I now have 3 left over, it's easy for me to know what I have left and how I can adjust my order for the following delivery. And so that's some of that nuance that you bring as a business owner, that once you handle that, you can start offloading some of the delivery tasks to a driver. And talking through, weekends, right? So you really have to understand your business when you're the busiest. Friday, Saturday, Sunday is always important. Based on the shelf space you have, based on when product is the freshest available to you from the bakery, you can start doing some things where, if Sunday is really busy and you don't have enough space, you can't keep it in stock, you're out at 5 p.m. on a Sunday, you can have someone where typically a grocery store is not open on a Sunday to receive product from a delivery driver. You can have extra product in the back room and you can pay someone to come in Sunday afternoon, Sunday night, refill everything. You're capturing all the sales from the busiest day, and it really makes your Monday morning a lot easier. So if you walk into a store that's already been merchandised with fresh product at 7 p.m. the previous evening, not only are you capturing all those sales that you wouldn't otherwise, but you're walking into a store that is fresh, that's most likely going to take 30 to 45 minutes off of your service time that Monday morning and really set you up for the week. So these are some things that I've implemented in my routes that have allowed me to grow well, to really work smart and to serve the customers better.
Yeah, and I think those are great. And I really think, people can get locked into like the things that they've been doing, and they think through, it's always going to take me this amount of time to complete the day because I've been doing it for 10 years. And so I know how long it'll take. But you're right. There's lots of these little tasks that you don't even have to have a full-time hire, but someone that can do some of these little things for you. And it saves a lot of time in your day, gives you that time back. And you can spend that time in different ways, either focus on the business in different ways that you didn't have the capacity for before, or just taking time off, exactly like what you're saying. So I think a lot of these are, they can feel like little things, but they add up. And suddenly you've got days off that you didn't before. And suddenly you're still performing at the same levels. You still got the same levels of service, and the stores are just as happy, if not happier. with you spending less time in the business. So it's, you can get blinders on when you're in a space like this where you feel really comfortable with your operational knowledge, but sometimes taking a step back and thinking about the things that you can take off of your own plate is a way that you actually improve your business. It's not just, I need to spend more time in the business. It's kind of being smarter about the time you're already spending.
Yeah, and I mean, like you've already said, route guys, we can be creatures of habit. It's sometimes, once I remember driving into a store, just turning in on a day off, just because I was in my habit, I was used to turning down this road, and I turned in on a day off. And so as soon as I started taking a step back from being a full-time route guy and start evaluating the business, I saw some operational efficiencies that I hadn't seen otherwise just as an owner operator.
Yeah, perfect. So can you take us through some of those other revenue opportunities you were thinking about or mentioning earlier?
Yeah, so here's some ideas for some revenue drivers. A lot of companies are going to have seasonal flavors. These are, short offerings that are maybe 4 times a year. I've seen guys with the permission of the retailer do samplings. Now check with your local state and local regulations for food safety and handling permits if that's required. But 4 hours in a Walmart doing a sampling of a new product that no one's seen before, you can really move some units. And that's not something that you have to do yourself. That's something that you can bring someone on to do. But it would be great to start doing it that way and have an idea of how much of a bump you're going to get. That's something that not a lot of people take the time to do. Cross-merchandising products. So if you have a store that really sells a lot of hoagie buns, you're in an area, say Philadelphia, that really sells a lot of hoagie buns, can you tie that in with the meat department and show value to the customer and kind of be a one-stop shop for all the products they need for a hoagie roll? Also in the deli department, a lot of delis in the grocery store will make sandwiches on demand for customers. And so if you're looking for a Reuben sandwich, and they don't normally stock rye bread, they're going to go to the bread aisle for that. And so I want them to choose my product over the competitors. And so having that relationship, how can we work together, and to make sure that you use my product and I'll make sure that I have it fresh for you. And then obviously, as an owner operator, as a distributor, you have the supply of the bread. And so, thinking way outside the box, you can certainly open a food truck. If your business has that ability, and you have lots of people in that area, think about opening a food truck. Not only are you going to drive commissions out of your bread business, but you're buying at wholesale and being able to, make some good money that way.
Yeah. Have you decided to consider getting into the food truck space yet, Stephen?
I haven't, but that's something I've seen. I've seen a lot
Yeah.
of guys around our town that have a food truck on a Friday night and they're busy.
Yeah, they've already got the hookup with the supplier. They're going to get the wholesale rates, and they know that they're going to get it on time because it's their food. Um, Now on the cross merchandising and the things like working with a deli, do you find that it's a hard conversation to have with grocery managers, or is it, they're open to your ideas too, or sometimes they even provide their own ideas to help you out?
It's not difficult as long as there's not a huge price gap between product. So if you're in a premium grocery store, that wants to serve a premium product, that's not going to be a difficult sell. If you're in a different area and there's a huge discrepancy in price, they're looking to do it at the most cost-effective way. And so you're going to have to know your market, you're going to have to know your demographics, but evaluate that as a business owner. Bring that business acumen to it and present something that is attractive to them that they can't say no to.
Yeah. So of the big box store options, are there's some that like you see it, this is going to be an easy one for me to find new ways to increase my revenue versus one that's always really difficult to do anything unique in?
Publix is really a great partner in the Southeast if you're fortunate enough to have them. Each store is allowed to really operate independently. And so they're allowed to do some things that, they might not do down the street. And each store manager is allowed to kind of evaluate that. And so again, Publix is a great partner. They do a lot of, they have a promotion called aprons. And so you may have seen this. You'll walk into the store and there'll be an aprons kiosk set up with, simple dinner ideas, and they'll have all the ingredients right there at that kiosk that you can make that meal. And they'll offer samplings. That's where a lot of these ideas are coming from.
Got it. So is it just a matter of having the right relationship to be a part of that apron for that week if they need bread?
So that's typically done on a corporate level.
Got it. Okay. So those, at least there's some, always going to be some of those stores that, good or bad, it's taken out of your hand for some of those promotions. What's
If
the hardest store too for you to find stuff in?
Of course, if the distributor is not doing a good job and they run out of the product that they're promoting, what are they going to do?
Yeah.
So I want them to come to me. I want to be the at least top of mind if I'm not number one. Your big box retailers, your Walmarts, they're so big, they're focused on their business and they don't do the extra things. And so they're going to be a little more difficult to work with.
Yeah, and they probably have a lot less flexibility to do things outside of the most cost-effective option.
That's true, but things like tastings, that shows value to their customers at no cost to them. So as long as they have the footprint, they have the space in the store, and you're not causing a disruption in the flow of traffic. In my experience, a lot of managers have been really open to that.
Got it. Okay. Well, that's great to kind of know and think through. And so I think the third thing you wanted to kind of talk through today was around problem solving to be, an effective operator.
Yeah, this is really important. When you start getting phone calls and someone's frustrated, have thick skin, absorb it, validate their questions. I understand, sir. I'm here to solve the problem. I'm going to come in. We're going to meet in person. I want to see it. Ask lots of questions. Try to understand the root causes. Most of the time in this business, someone has a boss that's coming down on them, and we have to solve the problem, right? And so after you've figured out a solution, after you've solved that problem, go back behind and ask, how are we doing? It's been 2 weeks since you've had this issue. Have I solved your problem? Just that effort is going to go a long way in building that relationship. Seek advice of fellow contractors. There's a great resource out here of other guys that have ran into difficulties and have found creative solutions. So don't be afraid to ask for advice there. Communicate your intentions, follow up. We kind of touched on that. And embrace the challenge. As entrepreneurs, we have the ability to really affect change in our business. And you're really going to reap a lot of rewards from that if you have that positive go-getter attitude. So think outside the box. That's my encouragement to you.
Perfect. Now, if you were thinking about, an average day or an average month, where do you find that the most problems come from? Is it a driver? Is it the depot? Is it, a grocery manager? How do you kind of think through where you can expect the most problems in this industry?
Yeah, so we've touched on this a little bit before. Online grocery is a big focus right now. And so in-stock conditions, where it used to be you would go to the grocery store and look for your favorite product and it was out of stock and you left unhappy. Now there's metrics on that. So if you were trying to purchase it and you tried to order it online and they were unable to fulfill it, they're seeing lost sales there. So in-stock conditions is huge. That's probably the biggest thing. There are little things like checking in and out of the store. I would when they first started this process, I would always check in, but I would forget to check out. And something simple like that, on their screen, the metrics are this guy's checking in, but not checking out. And so that's something simple that I simply was forgetting to do. And that caused some problems, but they were not big problems. These were easy fixes. I just had to remember to add that to my daily routine.
Yeah. And most likely for any of these situations, the better relationship that you develop with these people, the easier it is to get some grace when you're trying to solve the problem, as opposed to them not knowing who you are and just seeing you as a blip in their network as you're not doing it right. If you've got those relationships where they can call you or they know what you look like, what your work style is like, where they can at least give you some of the benefit of the doubt there and then work through those solutions together, is always going to be important in this space and really any logistics industry. Perfect. Well, I think that's what we wanted to focus on and cover today. I've got a couple of things that I'm going to hit on in just a second. If anyone has any questions, feel free to put them in the Q&A at the bottom while I'm going through this, and I'll get to it in just a second. We do have a new listing this week out in Central Florida. This is One route at $180,000, and it's doing about 7,500 a week. And it does have a truck available if you want to purchase it instead of bringing your own truck into the equation, and has about 11 weekly accounts. Now, as I said at the beginning and mentioned, if this is your first time being on here, we do these webinars every week. We've got weeks and months of these on our YouTube, on our Route Consultant YouTube, if you want to go back and watch all of these. And we'll continue to have these on a weekly basis for you to come here, hear from us, hear some new ideas. And if you have any questions, you're always free to ask them. We also do have our 101s that are free for you to go in and get that kind of foundational knowledge. But beyond that, we've got summits, which are really designed as a way for you to learn as much as you can and then come in person, meet with us, meet with Stephen, and really have all of your kind of specific questions answered and think through some of the things about the business in whatever particular area you're aiming at, and maybe whatever bakery you're aiming at, to make sure that you've got the right process, the right game plan in mind to really help you move forward. We design those summits as coming out of it, we want you to feel really confident that the bread and grocery industry is the right fit for you, or it's not. And if it's not, then you've saved some time and money, and that's the best for everyone. Those summits are digital, the content is, but our next workshop is May 24th. And that's in our office in Nashville. So if you're looking for the next time to come in person and see us, that's where it is. Also, if you happen to be in the Orlando area, we will be there next week, I believe, for a happy hour. So if you're in the area, those are free and you're always welcome to attend. Other than that, I'm not seeing any questions come in. So Stephen, thank you so much for being here, providing your all of your expertise and all of your knowledge on all of this.
Thank you, Josh. Everybody have a great week. We'll see you next week.
Perfect. And thanks everybody for being here. Like Stephen said, we will see you all next week.